Welcome to Heartglow CEO, where high achievers evolve into purpose-driven powerhouses. I'm Casey Rossi, your integrative leadership coach. Join us to break free from people-pleasing and burnout, exploring mindset, embodiment, and soul alignment. Discover expert insights, success stories, and actionable tips for holistic wealth on your terms. This is where transformation meets the modern female leader. Let's go. Today, we're diving into a topic that will set you apart: hyper-focusing your niche. When I say hyper, I don't mean stressed, agitated, or anxious, okay? I mean focused, concentrated, and dedicated. Here's the reality. Today's marketplace is moving at lightning speed, and every day there is something new competing for attention. If you're not carving out a distinct space for yourself, you risk becoming invisible. I know narrowing down can feel really tough, especially if you're a solopreneur who already feels stretched. Today, we'll be walking through not only why focusing on your niche is essential, but also some specific steps that you can take if you're struggling to figure out exactly where to start. Here's why hyper-focusing matters. People crave unique, specific, and personalized experiences. If you're a generalist trying to cast a wide net, you'll likely find yourself lost in the noise. Maybe you're already starting to experience this, where things that you used to do in your marketing used to be enough. The key word here is used to. If you are not crystal clear on how you serve, what you stand for, and how you're different, that's going to be an issue. So on the flip of it, if you are crystal clear, if you do know what you stand for, and if you really talk about repetitively how you're different, that is when your magic will happen. Think of it this way. Generalists are like vanilla or chocolate or even maple walnut ice cream in a world that's demanding matcha, jasmine, pistachio chip. The classics are great, don't get me wrong, but it's not memorable or distinct. Being hyper-focused is like creating a flavor that is unforgettable. Like, wow, I have to have that again. You become something people remember, seek out, and talk about. And we know when your fans start raving about you, that is when momentum kicks in, and it's a beautiful thing. When is it Instagrammable is the mindset, playing the game is a natural reality. Now, I can already feel some people getting cringy about that statement. This can be cringy to think about for heart-centered leaders who just want to focus on delivering the best product or service with full integrity and not buying in to keeping up with the Joneses. And I love that. Ethical marketing is where it's at. And this is an and. In order to be magnetic, you have to capture attention first. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses, but you do have to keep up with today's landscape if you want to survive. That may sound dramatic, but let me illustrate it with a current example. I recently had a discovery call with an amazingly talented seamstress. She's been making clothes, specifically jeans, for decades. Her passion lies in the quality of the denim, so that's what she focuses on in her marketing. However, what do women truly want their favorite pair of jeans to be? What are they looking for? What do they want out of their favorite pair of jeans? Of course, fit is essential, but moreover than not, they want their butts to look fine. That may be funny, but it's true. So to attract more buyers, showing people looking fly and confident in your jeans, that's going to magnetize buyers more than focusing on the type of fabric, because people care about how things are going to make them look and feel. Zoning in on that will make the difference. So back to keeping up with today's landscape. Know what people want and what they're willing to pay for, and meet those needs. That's a winning formula, my friend, but just every single time. Now, I know the thought of narrowing down can be scary, but here's the truth. When you narrow down, you expand your impact. That may sound counterintuitive at first, so I'm going to repeat it. When you narrow down, you expand your impact. When you know exactly who you're speaking to, your message resonates so much deeper. Your clients are more loyal, and new ones seek you out because they feel like you're speaking directly to them. So, how do you get uber specific? It's about answering a few key questions. Who do I absolutely love working with? What specific problem do I solve better than anyone else? And I want to put a little caveat here. Please try not to have imposter syndrome squash down that second question, because I can already hear people saying, I know what specific problem I solve, but the back end of better than anyone else, that's snagging me. I don't want that to be a snag. I want you to have a humble brag here. What specific problem do you know deep down that you solve better than anyone else? And let that just flow. And then the third thing is, what makes my approach or service unique and refreshing? Imagine knowing your client avatar so well that you could pick them out in a crowded room. You know their struggles, their goals, their vibe. This is where alignment between you and your ideal client clicks into place. And here is a pro secret. They are more like you than you imagine. I found they are almost a clone of you. I'll use myself as an example. I'm a fan of minimalism, practicality, nature medicine, spirituality, and holistic living. I'm also curious, alternative, sensitive, and productive. I like products that reduce waste and are clever, entertainment and causes that stimulate emotion and have meaning, and value clarity over clutter. Freedom, mastery, and Kaizen are all top values for me. And here's the thing. Most, if not all of my clients, share almost every characteristic, including being a leader and or an entrepreneur just like me. Like begets like. That isn't just a cliche, but it's based in science and can be seen in everything from genetics to algebra, and it applies to your tribe as well. We gravitate towards people who are like us or have traits that we admire for ourselves, pure and simple. Many times when I'm writing an article or recording an episode for you, I tap into what I need. And it inevitably resonates with my listeners because they are more often than not like me with similar challenges and desires. So if you're feeling stuck, here are a few strategies to help you out. Number 1, start with your current wins. Look back at your client list or your last 5 projects or so. Who are the clients you loved working with? Which projects made you feel alive and expanded and aligned with your purpose? Zero in on these. Usually, your dream clients and projects, they will leave you little clues about your natural niche. Number 2, get rid of shoulds. This one is big. Many entrepreneurs stay in a generalist mindset because they think they should be able to help everyone, or that they should offer a broader service to make ends meet. And can you feel that lack and limitation mindset, just like even in those words? But when you should yourself into a niche, it won't feel authentic. It'll really feel like you're in a box, but you're the one drawing the box and pushing yourself into it. Instead, ask yourself, who do I want to work with? What problems am I naturally passionate about solving? And be honest here, even if it means going against the grain of what's popular in your industry. Number 3, don't marry your niche just yet. You can date it. If you're not ready to fully commit, think of hyper-focusing as an experiment. Try picking a niche for the next 3 months. So make it your 90-day plan. Show up online, create content, and serve this specific audience without feeling like it's set in stone forever. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed thinking that when they commit that they're stuck, but they're not stuck. Life is fluid. Your ideas that you generate are fluid. You can give yourself permission to see what works and what doesn't. Often, the feedback you get and the results you see will show you if this is a place where you can truly shine. Number 4, refine instead of redesign. You don't need to start over to narrow your focus. Look at what you already offer and ask yourself, how can I refine this to make it more specific? Maybe you're a health coach, but instead of offering wellness advice to everyone, you could focus on stress management for corporate women in high pressure roles. You see how much clearer that is? It's not that you're reinventing the wheel. It's not that your audience is going to feel like, wow, what is she doing now? She's popcorning all over the place. It's literally just taking it and making it better. If you fear that by narrowing down, you're going to lose out on clients, here's the truth. Those clients who come to you because you're a generalist aren't the ones who are most aligned with you anyway. They're the ones who might ask for discounts or not truly value your expertise. I can feel that some of you are already nodding your head here because sometimes I felt this way, like, why do I keep attracting like the same kind of client? A client that is heart-based but struggles pricing their service, or someone who is really mission specific but doesn't really have a budget to get the true help and service that they need for the amount of time it's going to take to get them where they need to be. But when you get specific, you're attracting people who are truly ready to invest because they know that you're the one who gets them. Everything gets easier for you and for them. We know a confused mind doesn't convert. How can it? They will keep searching until they land on someone who resonates with them, their goals, and their inner voices, someone who has taken the time to define and redefine their business, and that translates to buyers. Here are a few more practical tips to ease this transition so you can make it a little exercise for yourself. You can press pause on me if you're home, take out your favorite journal and kind of walk through these steps, or you can just make a mental note to circle back to this or the show notes. That's another really great tool. That's one of the reasons why I transcribe every episode for you, because if you want to just stay in the flow and listen to these and glean what you can just by audio alone, that's awesome. But if you're someone that's more kinesthetic and has to write it down, or really clearly define practical action tips, go back to the transcript. Print it out, highlight it, make a bunch of notes for yourself, and commit to the action because, as I say over and over again, information without implementation is a colossal waste of time. So, here are a few practical tips to ease this transition. Visualize your ideal client. Imagine you're at a party and that this person walks in. What are they talking about? What keeps them up at night? What do they share with their bestie? What are their goals? Get into the details and write them down. Craft a message specifically for them. Write a sentence or two that would grab that person's attention. For example, I help corporate women manage stress so they can come home relaxed and energized for their families. Boom. I can immediately think of several people that would be like, that is me. I don't want to come home after a workday and feel like I have nothing left to give because I've completely depleted my tank in my 9 to 5. Now that's a message people can feel and remember. The other thing is test your niche statement. Once you have a draft, put it out on your social media and on your website and see how people respond. The beauty of niching down is that it lets you test your ideas in real time. You will see quickly if it resonates. Being different keeps people's interest. I want you to remember attention is currency. Standing out isn't optional, it's a must. When you're distinct, you're not only memorable, but you're also building a powerful community around your unique value. The other thing too, I want to just insert here is think of collaborations. People are more likely to team up with a specialist because you bring a fresh, specific angle to the table. With a hyper-focused approach, you're not just another player, you're a partner in creating an experience. Let's talk about an example like yoga. In the 80s and 90s, it was enough to offer a standard yoga class in the US. Then, as it gained popularity, the number of hours your training had was enough to set you apart. So maybe you weren't just a 200 registered certified yoga teacher, but you did a 500-hour training, or you niched even further into a yoga specialist. That's not enough now. And I'm not discrediting this amazing field. I'm just watching the trends and what fills a room. This month locally, I've seen alpaca yoga, banjo yoga, vinyasa with crystal singing bowls, and energy healing. And just a couple of days ago, I attended a slow flow yoga and gong immersion combo. So there was a local yoga teacher that brought in a specialist from Manhattan, which is like 5-6 hours from here, who actually was a sound healer specifically in Tibetan gong bowls. It was pretty intense and incredible. Also, my friend and personal yoga instructor offers acro yoga, a combination of acrobatics and yoga. That's pretty unique in itself, but her secret sauce is being dedicated to celebrating diversity. In that, her class fills with all body types, including me. I do not have a yoga body, but I feel comfortable showing up on the mat in her classes time and time again because of the culture that she brings to the table. It brings all types of ages. I can look around and I can see, like, I brought my 14-year-old niece to her very first yoga class to this specific person because I know that she would feel less intimidated and welcomed. It also brings a bunch of LGBTQ folks, especially to the acro yoga, where they can feel like they can fly or they can be a base and hold someone and hold the space for them. Can you start to feel the difference in being hyper-focused? I hope that you can. I hope that these real life examples help paint the picture of why being so specific is the magic now. It is the secret sauce as we move into 2025. Again, vanilla is old hat and a snorebore. What can you do to capture attention and stand out in an authentic way? I know that you have got an it factor. It just may take a little self-reflection and courage to put it out there. And then, of course, test and measure and reiterate as often as possible based on feedback and conversions. So are you ready to commit to getting specific? Let's remember that being narrow doesn't make you smaller, it makes you sharper. In a world of choice, people gravitate toward brands that feel different. Being distinct keeps people curious and engaged. It also builds your authority. When you're known for one thing, you attract collaboration opportunities and become top of mind. And the beauty of collabs is that it expands your reach without having to be everywhere all the time. Your collaborators are essentially sharing their audience with you, so you get to double the exposure just by being you. All right, here's a recap and what I want you to do to hyper-focus your niche. Write down exactly who your product or service is for and be detailed. What do they care about? What's keeping them up at night? Ask yourself, what's the one thing that sets your work apart from the rest? If you had a 10-second pitch, what would you say to make it unforgettable? I want to say here, be you. You do not have to be a clone of anybody else. In fact, if you do, it will just be a watered down version of the original. So this held me back for a while because I felt that in order to be unforgettable in my early business venture with my business partner of well, we had 10 different businesses. The one was 17 years, but for a couple of decades, I really had this mind lie, but I believed it, that in order to be unforgettable, I had to be like her because she was funny and she was an extrovert and outgoing. And I just felt like I didn't have that. And so there was that voice where it was like, well, what do I have? Like, if I'm not funny, if I don't like immediately put somebody at ease with like humor and big personality, then what do I have? And so it took a while for me to kind of unpack that and to really see that I could have strength in my sensitivity and I could cultivate space based on like empathy and intuition that didn't look like what made her amazing, but it took me like a little bit to realize, oh, there's a space for that too. So I just really want to say, like, when you're thinking about what's the one thing that sets your work apart from the rest, it does not have to look like anybody else. And in fact, it won't. You are so beautiful in your uniqueness, no matter what that looks like. Soft or hard, loud or quiet, whatever it looks like for you, it's going to be amazing and beautiful. And I want you to embrace that. And then lastly, don't be afraid to really start being specific with your language, your stories, your visuals. That's going to directly speak to your people and they're going to feel it. So I really want to invite you and challenge you to do these invitations. With a hyper-focused approach, you're not just building a business, you're building a movement. You're creating a community of people who gravitate towards you and clients who feel like you've created your product or service just for them. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to rate and review at lovethepodcast.com/brilliance and share this episode with anyone who needs a little nudge to niche down. Let's light up this path together, one hyper-focused step at a time. Keep glowing, keep growing. And until next time, my friend, breathe joy.